All right, so we are coming up on the equity open. It's about 8:22 in the morning, and we'll be opening up in a range. It looks like this is not uncommon, where we consolidate in the morning session prior to the U.S. Equity open. It's not ideal, but what will generally, this is a tight range. So we're looking at about 77 to 83. So it's a tight range that we're in, which generally means it'll be broken. So that's what I want to be prepared for. We're either going to come out of the top or out of the bottom, but we have to avoid trying to trade the range. The range is just too small to capture anything without fairly significant risk. So let's get some decision points on here. This is probably going to be a good opportunity to talk through how some of this stuff works. You can see this profile, which is the move up and the move down. We can see, in the periods, we can see the volume clusters at the edges, which generally would give us a double distribution. The interesting thing about this is it gives us a triple. So we've got 1, 2, 3. Right? The point of control is up here at 83. If you notice where all of the volume's been holding, here, 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 it's really not lined up well with this. A lot of times you're going to have to move the profile around and just try and find the most logical place as opposed to the mathematical place. Because of the triple distribution here, I'm going to pull this back and just see what the other side looks like. Okay, and that is a little bit more representative of what is actually holding on this edge. We're going to do the same thing on the bottom. We had a move up into this sideways range, and then everything has basically been holding here. Again, the problem is that we've got to capture the move down and the move up. We have what's probably going to give us a double distribution. So we'll just slap it on there and see. No, not even a double distribution. That tells you how little this volume was compared to what's going on up here. So this is one of those deals where the profiles just aren't going to give us much to work with. I'll go ahead and pull that one back and you can sort of see. I think more than anything, what it's going to do is just give us some basic guidance, I guess is the right way to put it. Just very, very basic sort of this is the outline, right? I don't think we can use it as specific points other than, are we getting volume clusters across it is, I guess, the point. I'm sorry, I'm still not fully awake this morning. So what I'm going to do is I'll just put a line here that's going to come in at about 83, and I'll put one here that's at 77.25, and we're going to be very focused just on the idea that we're really seeing a breakout or a breakdown. We're not going to get nitpicky about a tick or two or where the volume cluster lies if it's very close, because I don't see these ranges as being well defined. One little cluster of volume, particularly in this case, which is, we know there's more volume here than here. This one, triple distribution, I just don't want to get overly focused on it. But if we can find, we've got, about 3.5 minutes for the equity open. If we can get some action here that carries us out on either side, I'm happy with it. So we'll just, we're just going to wait and see if we get some sort of actual push here. It's we've got about 3 minutes, so we get a little bit closer. Thinking about, what, I'm just going to do it now. I'm going to go ahead and put on a swing profile from here to here. I'm just going to have that ready because it looks like we're on a push up here. And we'll just see. We'll wait it out. We've got 2.5, 3 minutes. Okay, we are at the open, 8:30 Central, and still inside the range, but you can see we at least look like we're lifting up a little bit. So we'll see if this can carry out up to the beyond the 83. Okay, so watch the battle that's going on here, right? We've had the buyers try and buy up here. They tried to buy up again and the sellers drove back. Then they tried to buy up again and the sellers drove back. And now we're very clearly, we've taken out any sort of swing to the upside now. It might reset. We might stay in the range for a little bit. But notice if you watch that develop in real time, that was a pretty powerful battle there. Where the buyers, particularly right at the open, were really trying to get out of there, and it just didn't come together. I'm just going to pull the profile until we've got a better idea of what direction we want to look at. Okay, starting to challenge the lows. Let's get a profile up on the high to live. Okay, right at the lows, we want to think about a potential short opportunity. Our short will be from the CWAP with the VWAP as the stop, but we have to break down. We've got to get some volume printing below. We can't. This is just holding right now. This is the battle. We've got to see the sellers actually initiate trade here and get something working. Don't want to get hung up on. Okay, so still no volume below. Look at that, still holding. Sellers making an effort. Okay, starting to get a good move here. Look at this, buying effort now. Sellers are trying to push, buyers are coming back, driving back up into the range. Sellers taking it again. Buy side again. This is what the buyers have to buy through, right? This is the selling effort coming down. We can see these three clusters. Buyers bought right back into it. Let's see if the sellers can come in and take some control now. Okay, sellers trying to push through. All right, nice move down. I like where this CWAP is starting to fall. Obviously, if we have major support that becomes resistance, there we go. That's all we needed. Let's get a sell order out there.
Order pending.
All right, so we can visibly see the breakdown now. Just going to stay in front of the CWAP with my order. If I can get, look how perfect this is. This is really a great area. Be totally happy to have it come back right here. Okay, hit. Hit but not filled there with the uptick. We have a nice small stop here. Again, nothing. Just tapped a couple times. All right, moving down a little bit more. Dropping another tick here. Okay, well, this is getting away from us. We missed the fill up here at 77. That's all right. What I'd like to see now is a continuation low. There we go. I want to see confirmation that we're going to continue making lower lows. And look at all the volume here. This was a huge battleground, right? This is the buyer trying to prop up here, failing, right? And then this is whether or not the sellers are gonna continue to push and have those prior buyers unwind their positions. And I think a lot of this was unwinding. So think about it. We now have this block of volume here that is basically a giant level of support that will become resistance. So I'm going to put a profile on that just so we can kind of see where all of that falls, right? And as my, there we go. I was going to say as the CWAP starts to move down, I'm right in that volume and my stop's behind it. So I don't have any problem with this. If it comes back up and fills me here, I'll be just fine with that. Now, I was looking at the chart earlier. There's nothing for a long way down that we need to be overly concerned about, right? We always want to make sure, okay, if we're selling into a swing lower, is there anything that might get in our way? Hold on, let's keep up with the order. So this all still looks really good, and I don't see anything in the way of this, so this could turn into a huge move down. Okay, lifting back up. We're right on the edge of all that volume, but I think we're in a good spot here. Feel fairly confident being right in the middle of that. Okay, there we go, hit.
Order filled.
All right, and so we've got the order filled here. We want to get our stop behind the volume weighted average price. Let's get our risk to reward worked out. Make sure that we're staying. I just did that backwards. Entry, stop. Okay, and so you can see our 2-to-1 down here. So let's slide things up, get our targets. 2-to-1 right at the low. We might want to bring that in an extra couple of ticks, right? It's not as important to get 2-to-1 as it is to get filled. So how about we put that right at 73.50. Meanwhile, we will change this to 3. There's our 3-to-1. And we'll change this to 5. And there's our 5-to-1. All right, and we'll see if we can get one of those 5-to-1s. That'd be great. All right, so let's talk about where the where this fill comes in and the stop, right? So we've got the VWAP really lining up with this cluster of trade here. So this was after the initial breakdown. This was an area where the buyers were really trying to prop this back up, right? And so having that sort of retest into the edge of the range and then create another move down, another cycle down, creates this beautiful sort of level of support that then becomes resistance. Having the entry sort of match up right there with the stop on the other side of it, I love it. You know, that's precisely the type of stuff that I'm looking for. And now we've got our stop in even a little bit more.
Target filled.
First target picked up as well. And again, I put that a little bit inside. Remember, we talked about this in a prior lesson. The math of 2-to-1 or whatever is not nearly as important as something that's logical. So if my 2-to-1 had been all the way down here at 71, 75, and it wasn't right on the low, I probably wouldn't have moved it. I would have just accepted the fact that, hey, this has got to get moving in order for me to get anything covered. But what I don't want to do is, I mean, look at this. Very often what we will do in scenarios like this is we will go down and retest the low a little bit higher, right? So to have my target down exactly at the low, it just lowers the probability that I'm going to get that that little extra push, right? So we'll see if we can get more out of this, but even if that's as far as it goes, I'm okay with it, just from the standpoint that I'm trading smart, right? My edge is to manage my capital, and if I can manage the capital against what's logical on the chart, most of the time I'm going to come out ahead. All right, starting to break back away from this. So close call within a couple of ticks here, and now hopefully making some new lows. There we go, new low. Bring our stop in a little bit now, just 3 ticks worth of risk, having taken some off down here as well. So half the position's off. Still have 2 to go. So I guess technically we've got 6 ticks at risk. Okay, hit down.
Target
okay,
filled.
And we got it. It was tapped and filled. So that's the 2 to 1, and we've got another target down at 69.25 as well. And stop is moving in a little bit, so we'll just keep working with it. Okay, lifting back into the CWAP here. We've got a strong push off of the low. We've got 2 ticks of risk left on the trade, just a single contract, so it's not the end of the world if this doesn't work out, but it sure was a nice push down there to grab the second target. Okay, stop comes down another tick. Let's see if we can hold it out.
Stop filled.
Okay, well, it's picked up, but a great little trade. And obviously, this trade would have been a lot better had we gotten filled here. That would have been probably an easier 5 to 1. But it's the way it goes, right? Sometimes it's going to go right to your level and not fill you. And that happens. We were a tick in front of the CWAP. I'd rather be that accurate than have absolutely no clue what I'm doing, which I feel is about 95% of the retail traders out there. So sometimes, it's just not going to work out, and we just have to keep the glass half full, and it's okay. We picked it up here, and I guess I should mention this. So as we're watching this, the breakdown occurs here on this bar. That's why we were trying to get here, because all of this volume is still sort of in that area where it's getting propped up. This is the transition. We've got sellers trying to sell through the low. The buyers lift back up. Where do they lift back up into? The selling effort, right? And that's when the seller comes back in and initiates enough trade to clear it. So that's where we start looking for the trade. But because we didn't get filled here, a lot of people get concerned. Well, can I still trade this? How many times can it touch the CWAP? And that's very level 1 thinking. That's sort of like your basic political commentary on Fox News or MSNBC. It's talking points, silly, stupid stuff, right? You have to get a little bit deeper into something and go, into the next level of thought before you're going to get out of that sort of really novice, silly talk. And so we're not worried about the number of times it touches the CWAP. That's sort of insane. It's where does it touch the CWAP, right? In this case, we have all of this volume from the support that was built up after the breakdown that then failed. And so given that the CWAP is right in the middle of that area of resistance, I don't have any problem taking it, right? Even though it's already, we technically missed the trade. So I don't care about the number of times. I care about where something happened. And in this case, It couldn't have happened in a better spot. And we were still able to pick up almost 2-to-1 and 3-to-1 on the trade. It only gave up a tick, I think, something like that. So not a bad gig.